I've covered the band Yes before in other videos and mentioned their song Starship Trooper when discussing all the songs about astral travel, which is just going into outer darkness to communicate with the demonic spirits. Because there are a lot of songs about that. You guys have commented about those before. This video will not be about Yes specifically, but I will cover the book Starship Trooper, which the band says inspired their song, because the book Starship Trooper follows an odd pattern, and this pattern is science fiction books written by military officers and intelligence officers with combined themes of space travel, world government, militarism, elite fascism, and pedophilia. I will be giving several examples in this video. This is artwork on the cover of an album by the band Asia, formed by members of the band Yes and King Crimson. This artwork was created by Roger Dean, whose alma mater is the Royal College of Art. One of my subscribers said that dragons are frequently featured with orbs. So I checked that out, and they're correct about that. On one of my worm videos, a commenter said, the band Yes, in their song Starship Trooper, has an instrumental outro piece titled Worm. W-U-R-M. This is artwork on the cover of the Yes Songs album, also created by Roger Dean. But most of the ideas for the art on their album covers were those of lead singer John Anderson, which he claims that he received through third eye meditation in Dreamtime. Notice that winged thing flying towards the girl. I'll now read some of the lyrics to Starship Trooper. The chorus is definitely druidic. It goes, "Speak to me of summer, long winters longer than time can remember, the setting up of other roads to travel on in old accustomed ways. I remember the talks by the water, the proud sons and daughter that knew the knowledge of the land, spoke to me in sweet accustomed ways." Some other lyrics of that song are, "Starship Trooper, go sailing on by. Catch my soul, catch the very light. Hide the moment from my eager eye. Though you've seen there, please don't tell a soul. What you can't see can't be very whole." And then it just goes on with more witchy lyrics about astral travel. Yes is a British band, likely Tavistock, who started producing in 1968, and they're still a band 46 years later. Rick Wakeman, the keyboardist, is commander of the Order of the British Empire, and he always wears these sparkly capes like a wizard. But the claim is that the song Starship Trooper was based on a book, Starship Trooper, written by Robert Heinlein, who was a naval officer and an aeronautical engineer. Starship Troopers is a military science fiction novel about a future society ruled by a human interstellar government called Terran Federation, dominated by a military elite. It's been described as having fascist and racial themes and assumes violent conflict and the militarization of society are inevitable and necessary. The related motifs of alien invasion, patriotism, and personal sacrifice during war are present in this book. These themes are also present in other science fiction books written by military officers and intelligence people. As mentioned before, there is a pattern in science fiction books and other fantasy books written by military officers and intelligence officers with combined themes of space travel, the supernatural, world government, militarism, elite fascism, and pedophilia. I'll be giving some other examples in this video, but several of Robert Heinlein's books dealt with incest and the sexual nature of children. Time for the Stars, Glory Road, Time Enough for Love, and The Number of the Beast dealt with incest and sexual feelings and relations between adults and children. He said that Rudyard Kipling was a major influence on his writings, and Rudyard Kipling I've covered before in other videos. So even though Heinlein was writing about pedophilia, He was among the best-selling science fiction authors of the 40s and 50s, which means he was artificially promoted. He published 32 novels, 59 short stories, and 16 collections. 9 films, 2 TV series, and a board game have been derived from his works. 4 of his novels won Hugo Awards. Heinlein coined terms that have become part of the English language, including grok, which means to understand. And I'm sure this is where Elon Musk came up with the name grok, because he's a big science fiction person as well. But these military officers, intelligence agents, and politicians have been writing about pedophilia in their supposed science fiction for decades. It's part of their religion. Robert Buettner is a former military intelligence officer who published an anthology of stories by Robert Heinlein. Donald Barr, former AG Bill Barr's father, was headmaster at the Dalton School. Donald Barr was an OSS agent who got Jeffrey Epstein his first job as a teacher at the Dalton School. Donald Barr also wrote a novel titled Space Relations about an oligarchical space-faring group of humans in the future who are preoccupied most of the time with enslaving and sexually abusing children. Tom Kratman, U.S. Army officer, wrote about a civilization in decline with heroes battling, but his books included graphic sex, including children sold into prostitution. The Lotus Eaters is one of the books published of his in 2010. Timothy McNeil was a U.S. Army officer, professor, psychology major, and camouflage expert who wrote Shades of Grey, which is a book about West Point, a psychologist there investigating mysterious happenings on campus involving demons. Timothy O'Neill in real life was the first director of engineering psychology program at West Point Military Academy. His book Shades of Grey is about a psychologist at West Point, featuring No Doubt himself as the main character. His character's bookshelf at West Point is described as perverse texts on disorders of sexual behavior and child development. In the book, his wife said they made him look like a pedophile, and he also described himself as a pervert in that book. Lord Mountbatten published books about the military, but he also wrote a report about a UFO, otherwise known as a fallen angel or demon, encounter on his estate by a staff member. This was reported to have fueled Prince Philip's interest in UFOs, otherwise known as fallen angels and demons. Prince Philip was the nephew of Lord Mountbatten and father of King Charles, and widely known to have a strong and sustained interest in the phenomenon. Mountbatten was certainly a military leader, chief of the defense staff and supreme allied commander of the Southeast Asia, among other titles: Order of the Garter, Most Noble Order of the Bath, Order of Merit, Star of India, Royal Victorian Order, Privy Council, and Fellowship of the Royal Society. The FBI was aware of allegations that Mountbatten was homosexual and a pedophile since 1940. There have been many allegations against him, including the rape of young boys, and I think this may have been why the IRA assassinated him and blew up his boat. But he was a mentor to King Charles. Bill Baldwin wrote a militaristic space opera. That's not Bill Baldwin. But Bill Baldwin wrote a militaristic space opera which had themes of sexualization of children. He was a lieutenant in the U.S. Air Force and worked at NASA. John G. Henry, under the pen name Jack Campbell, was lieutenant commander of the U.S. Navy, and he wrote books involving fantasy in space, which also involved the sexualization of children. Some of those titles are The Pillars of Reality, The Dragons of Dorcastle, The Hidden Masters of Mandor, The Servants of the Storm, The Wrath of the Great Guilds, The Legacy of Dragons, Daughter of Dragons, Destiny of Dragons, Pirate of Prophecy, and Empress of the Endless Sea. Thanks for listening.